It's been over 10 years since Act 70 was passed. So what's happened? What has been the effect of Act 70 on Pennsylvania archaeology?
Once that law was passed, those jobs really just stopped coming altogether. It wasn't the only reason why, but it was a main contributing factor is why I got out of archaeology for 2 years. There was just, things were getting too hard. It was getting too hard to make a living.
Charity Moore, a graduate of Mercyhurst University, recently received her master's degree from the University of Sheffield in England.
I've been submitting my resume to a lot of different places around Pennsylvania, and it is encouraging because people do seem to be impressed with it, but they say that we would like to hire you, but we just don't have the money right now, or we don't have the work right now. I'm also considering possibly moving west or south because there seems to be more jobs there at the moment because of funding problems in Pennsylvania.
Due to Act 70's lack of funding and consideration for state permitted sites, archaeologists are concerned that history is being lost in favor of development. Sites are being destroyed and we are not preserving our heritage. People seem to be unaware of just how much history there is underneath their feet.
They're shocked. They're shocked that there's as much to do here archaeologically because they think of Greece and Rome and Egypt and maybe the Maya or something like that. This is all wonderful archaeology, but the notion that people have been here maybe 16,000 years, that there's a lot to be done here in Pennsylvania is new for them.
Some of the oldest archaeological sites in North America are here in this state. Some of the ones that have been occupied longest are here in this state. Some of the biggest and most complex sites east of the Mississippi are in this state, and many of them are in areas being impacted by one or another construction activity, either something as simple as a subdivision, a home building enterprise.
We know that a large number of archaeological sites are probably being destroyed each year by development, and there's no consideration for those sites. We don't know the exact numbers, but we know that it's probably fairly large.
Essentially, about half, statewide in every county, about half of the reconnaissance level archaeological surveys in Pennsylvania find a site using the methods that we typically use in this state. So what you can guess is that in about half of the state permitted projects that we would have called for a survey under Act 70, there was certainly a site. Now, so in other words, the loss of archaeological sites runs into, by this point, it runs into the thousands.
Dr. Mary Ann Levine, Associate Professor of Anthropology at Franklin and Marshall College, emphasizes that archaeological resources are not renewable and that their destruction is not just an Act 70 issue.
Archaeological resources are finite. There's not an infinite number of them that exist. So every time a site is disturbed for one reason or another, that is diminishing the number of archaeological sites that there are. So incidences of vandalism or looting or destruction of all forms, it's incredibly serious because our resources are incredibly important to give voices to past people, specifically past Native Americans in Pennsylvania.
Dr. Kurt Carr, the Senior Curator at the State Museum of Pennsylvania, explains how archaeology is being threatened by growth.
No question that sites are being lost. We know that. But also just sprawl and housing developments in general, we're losing sites that way. And 20 years from now, the archaeological database in Pennsylvania, I'm convinced, will be significantly reduced, mostly because of sprawl. Certainly Act 70 has limited our ability to manage sprawl and the effects of sprawl on archaeological resources.